Hey everyone, it's Lauren. So for today's video, we are going to be talking all about your biggest hair struggles. I put a story up on my Instagram asking everybody to share what their biggest hair struggles are and that I wanted to provide some solutions. A little bit about me, I am a licensed hairdresser. I spent roughly 6 years behind the chair. I've been licensed for 9 years, almost 9 years now. I maintain my license and I have seen a lot with hair. So some of the questions that came into me, one of them was about having hypothyroidism and hair loss. There was a young woman, she was 34, and saying that she was experiencing hair loss from having hypothyroidism, which I can relate to. I have hypothyroidism myself, and I have had this condition for, I don't know, also roughly 9 years, strangely. And it's incredibly frustrating when you have it and you start losing all of your hair and you may not even know that you have hypothyroidism. That was one of the signaling factors for me that something was wrong, was that I was losing a lot of hair. And then once I got on some medication and we got it all leveled out, gradually my hair started filling back in. So basically, anytime you have something going on internally, your hair and your hormones are gonna show that a lot of times. So one of the biggest fixes to getting your hair to grow back in and thicken up is taking care of what's happening on the inside. So in the case of hypothyroidism, getting your hormone levels to even back out is the best way. I did tell her though, things that have helped me, using a boar bristle brush to really brush your scalp section by section. This really helps to exfoliate your scalp, but it also helps to get the blood flow going. If you think about it, there's not a lot of things that really are going to stimulate your scalp. It's not like you're massaging your scalp the same way that you do your face every day, unless you're washing your hair every day. But I do think that scalp brushing is a really great way to remove any dead cell buildup, product buildup, and really just kind of get some blood flowing to those follicles to encourage healthy growth. The next thing I would say is also using a shower brush, like a shampoo brush in the shower. This is just an added little step to give you some extra circulation to the scalp. I personally also do oiling treatments. I make my own mixture. I don't use anything pre-made. I just use some amla oil and some ojan oil, and I mix that in with jojoba. And I put it in one of those little blue glass dropper bottles. I buy the oils from a seller off of Etsy, which I'll link that down below just to give her a little extra business. And I just do that. I make a mixture of my own oil and I drip it all over my scalp and I massage it after I've done the boar bristles, and then I pin it up and I go and I sit in a hot bath for an hour. And then whenever I'm all done, I clarify it and shampoo it all out. And my hair has, I feel like, gotten thicker. I feel like I've got these little sprigs that are finally coming back in, especially after pregnancy. I lost a lot of hair after I had my daughter. The next question, also hair loss related, was regarding chemo. And so similar to something like hypothyroidism, when you have chemotherapy drugs in your system, a lot of times people will lose hair. I personally had several clients that had chemo and radiation and they lost all of their hair and came in to me with hair that was growing and that was very, very different than their previous texture. One story that I always think about, there was a man that came in to me. I was a new hairdresser in the salon, and he sat down. He was probably about 60 years old at the time. And he sits down and he's like, okay, so this is my first haircut. And I just kind of looked at him and I was like, what? I was very confused. But he, explained that he had had chemo and radiation and that his hair grew back in, but with a very, very different texture than he had had before. And so we had to kind of figure out a style to work with that, because he was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I spent my whole life with my hair one way and now it's like this. And oftentimes that will happen where anytime you have chemotherapy, radiation, and your hair falls out, when it comes back in, it'll change texture, but a lot of times if you have straighter hair, sometimes it'll come in super, super curly. So that's just something to kind of know if you ever go through that. If you're waiting for your hair to grow back in, if you're still taking those drugs, a lot of times your hair is not necessarily going to start coming back while you're on them. It's usually going to be like once you finish your treatments, that's when your hair will actually start to kind of come back. And so very similar to the hypothyroidism, doing things to stimulate your scalp and really just encourage healthy growth from a topical standpoint. It doesn't have to be through anything fancy. Just really getting some good blood flow is going to help your hair grow more. The next thing that came in was someone saying that she feels like her hair is so oily all the time. So I asked her a little bit about, what is your routine? What are you using right now? And she was using really good shampoo and conditioners, and the dry shampoo that she mentioned, I have never personally used, but I know people really love it. And I kind of asked her, like, what's your frequency of washing? And she said, 1 to 2 times a week, and then dry shampoo almost every day. And so I think sometimes when you have that, like, you'll hear hairdressers say, don't wash your hair every day. I'm not one of those people. I'm kind of like, if you need to wash it every day, wash it every day. I think it's better if you can go like every other day. A little bit of oil on your hair is not a bad thing. Oils are there to protect the condition of your hair. That's why your scalp produces oil. So one of the things that I would recommend is using a boar bristle brush to distribute those oils throughout your hair, because it's going to coat and protect it, but it's also going to remove some of that greasiness just up at the root, and it'll make your hair feel softer and silkier. The next thing I will say is using a dry shampoo is also a really great way to combat oil in between washes. Personally, I don't always love dry shampoos. I have struggled to find ones that I really like. I did mention it recently that I love the Virtue dry shampoo. That's probably like my fave, the best. The other one that I really like, and I don't see it here. Here it is. The other one that I really like, and this is really good for like minor touch-ups, and especially if you have like bangs, is the Violette FR Frange Puff. I think that the pricing is a little bit steep on this for how much you get, but I do like the convenience of this if you are someone who's kind of on the go, if you work out, you're at the gym, what have you. I do think having it in this little tiny brush is really, really convenient. And this one actually does a really good job. So just kind of throwing that out there. I really like this one and Virtue for dry shampoo. I also would say, if you're running into, you're going a long stretch like of a week or so with between washes, maybe up the washes, add an extra one in. I don't think you have to wash it every day, but I do think, throw in an extra wash. Maybe you just have an oilier scalp type. And a lot of times you'll see that people that have oilier skin, they're going to have an oilier scalp too. And so throwing in an extra wash is not necessarily the worst thing to do. I understand people are busy though, so if dry shampoo is working for you, then stick with dry shampoo. And kind of the final question that came in was, how do I get more volume in my hair? This woman said that she was styling her hair and it would hold some volume for a couple hours and then it would just go flat. And so I kind of asked her, what does your routine look like? And she said that, she blow dries with like little sections, round brushing. I asked her, when you round brush, are you pulling that 90 degrees off of your head, or are you pulling it forward towards the mirror and rolling it back? And she said usually just kind of up 90 degrees. And that in between sections, she'd get it about 80% dry and then move on to the next one. So I said to her, when you're blow drying, you want to make sure that you get those sections of hair 100% dry, and that when you go in and you are, you get your round brush in there, instead of just going up 90 degrees and down like that, that's going to give you some volume at the root here. But what you really want to do to get some maximum volume that's going to last for a long time is you want to take that hair and pull it like this, okay? And then let it sit like that. You want it 100% dry. You want to let it cool. And if you look at how that root is compared to just up at 90, you're going to get a lot more volume standing up that way. It's called over direction, and you want to make sure that your hair is 100% dry and really over direct that hair, pull it towards the mirror rather than just up. And I think you'll notice a huge difference. Also, using volumizing products, I think, is also a really great idea. Volumizing shampoos tend to be a lot lighter weight than a daily shampoo or a really moisturizing shampoo. But what that does is it allows all of your hair to be a little bit lighter and not so coated. So you're gonna get a lot more volume and lift. And some shampoos are designed to really expand that cuticle as well, which that's kind of why I don't always love volumizing shampoos, but also from Virtue. I really loved their full volume shampoo and conditioner. I even like when you round brush, especially for those top sections, when you take your brush out of them, go in with a Velcro roller. And I think this is a fantastic way to really let that hair cool down. See, notice how I'm pulling it that way too. It's a really great way to let that hair cool down. And then when you take it out, you're gonna have really, really long lasting volume. So these are all of my little tips from a hairdresser for this round. If you enjoyed this, please make sure to like and subscribe. It helps other people to find my channel and I can continue making this kind of content. If you want to see another video like this and you have a hair question, drop it below down in the comments. I would love to do another round of this. I think it's really fun. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.